Today we're going to be talking about triangles and angles. To begin with, let's give the definition for a triangle. A triangle is a figure formed by joining three non-collinear points with three segments. So we've all, of course, seen a triangle before. There we go. Three non-collinear points. You can see them right here. And we're joining them with three segments. There are different types of triangles. You can classify triangles by the number of sides. An equilateral triangle has 3 congruent sides. An isosceles triangle has 2 congruent sides. And a scalene triangle has no congruent sides. You can also classify triangles by angles. An acute triangle has 3 angles less than 90 degrees. A right triangle has 1 angle equal to 90 degrees. And an obtuse triangle has 1 angle greater than 90 degrees. Now, if we are to look at special parts of triangles, a right triangle looks like this. The longest side is called the hypotenuse, and its opposite the right angle. The other 2 sides are called legs. With an isosceles triangle, the 2 equal sides are called legs. The third side is called a base. So you could even make these marks like so right here. An isosceles right triangle looks like this. The longest side, of course, is the hypotenuse, but it's also the base. And it is the 2 other sides, the legs, that are equal. Let's move on to the next page. This is the triangle sum theorem, which says that the sum of the interior angles of any triangle is 180 degrees. So if you were to add up the angles inside a triangle, you would get 180 degrees. An exterior angle is an angle formed by extending one side of a triangle outward, like in this picture here. So you notice each side we've extended beyond the triangle. The interior angles in this case are the ones inside the triangle. So we're looking at angles 2, angle 4, and angle 5. The angles that have been formed on the outside of the triangle that have been labeled 1, 3, and 6 are the exterior angles. So angle 1, angle 3, and angle 6. Let's move on. The measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of its remote interior angles. So let's take a look at this. We would like to find the measure of angles 2, 3, 4, and 6. Now, let's go back to what it said above. The measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of its remote interior angles. So what that means is it's equal to the sum of the 2 angles that are not adjoined to, that are not adjacent to it, that are on the inside of the triangle. So, for instance, let's begin with some information that would help us to start. For instance, angles 3 and 4, we happen to know form a linear pair, so they add up to 180 degrees. Right at the moment, that probably isn't going to help us because we do not have a measure on one of them. But let's move on to another exterior angle. We have 125 degrees. Well, we know that the measure of that exterior angle, 125 degrees, would have to be equal to the measure of the 2 remote interior angles. So that's going to have to be equal to 45 degrees plus the measure of angle 4. Well, now we only have one missing number, which we can certainly figure out from there. So let's solve for it. Subtract 45 degrees from each side. And we end up with 80 degrees is equal to the measure of angle 4. So let's put 80 degrees right in here. So 125 degrees was equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. Now that's going to help us with the idea of the linear pair here. Angle 4 and angle 3 are a linear pair, so they have to add up to 180. Well, angle 4 is 80 degrees, so angle 3 is going to have to be 100. Now, let's also use our triangle sum theorem, which said that the three angles inside a triangle have to equal 180. Well, we've got a 45-degree angle. We have this 80-degree angle. And if we add that to the measure of angle 2, that should give us 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and figure this out. 45 and 180 is 125, plus the measure of angle 2 gives us 180. We solve for the measure of angle 2 by subtracting 125 from each side. So we end up with the measure of angle 2 equals 55 degrees. So we'll label that. Well, the last angle we need to find is the measure of angle 6. Well, the measure of angle 6 is equal to the sum of its two remote interior angles. So not the interior angle that's adjacent to it, the other two angles. So here's angle 6. So 55 degrees and 80 degrees are the measures of the two remote interior angles. So let's add those together. So the measure of angle 6 is equal to 135 degrees. So we will also fill that one in. So now we have all of our missing angles. Let's move on to the next page now. We're given this figure, and we would like to find the value of x. Let's think about it. This angle here, where it says 2x plus 10, is one of the exterior angles. And the measure of that exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So that would be x and 65. So in other words, 2x plus 10 is equal to x plus 65. So now we have an equation to solve. Let's subtract x from each side. So we're left with x plus 10 equals 65 degrees. We subtract 10 from each side. And we end up with x is 55 degrees. So there is our missing value for x. Thank you very much for joining me. That's all for today.